wizard hat. 4. Why so serious?
3. Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
We have a Hulk.
2.
Show me your moves.
I'm Groot. 1.
What's that flashing? We're losing it at flicker shield. Don't trap yourselves in. I'm going to make a jump to light speed.
Go!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the Random Fandom Show. I'm your host, Matt Muich.
I'm Josh Muich.
And I'm Nick Vittorio, and we have a special guest with us, my good friend, Nick Drennan. Hello.
Welcome, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Hello. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Nick. What fandom are you into? Or fandoms?
Fandoms. Mostly an anime guy, so if you guys have anything or have any questions about that, I can probably give my input on that for you.
Cool. Sweet.
Matt and Josh are very well versed in the Animverse.
No, not really.
I wouldn't say well-versed, but we're into it.
We have some shows that we like.
Everyone does.
This is true. Except for me, because I'm not a huge anime fan. But, whatever. But today, we're not going to talk about anime. We're going to talk about Ant-Man and the Marvel Universe as of now.
Phase 2's done.
Phase 2 is officially over with. But, what a phase it's been.
What a phase, man.
Although I think
A
we're going to
phase.
talk about more than just Phase
2.
2.
We're going to talk. It's all-inclusive. Phase 1, Phase 2. Everything in the Marvel Cinematic... Well, the movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far.
Yep.
Yay. But first and foremost, let's talk about Ant-Man for a bit. We all got a chance to see this, and I think we all enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
So, Matt and Josh, you guys got to see it together.
We
What
sat
did you
twice
guys
together,
think?
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
I enjoyed it both times thoroughly, so it was a pleasant surprise.
Mm.
I mean, like last year, I was worried about Guardians because I'm like, I don't know these characters. I don't know if Marvel can make this into a huge hit, and they did. And then everybody was like, Ant-Man, I don't know. I mean, it's Ant-Man, and nobody was sure if they were gonna pull out another win, but I think they did.
Yeah, for what they had to work with, they did like a better job than anything I probably could have come up with.
Yeah. With all the behind-the-scenes stuff in the movie going on, the switching of writers and directors and stuff.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that they kept the best parts of... wait, who was it that was...
Edgar Wright.
yeah, they kept the best parts of what Edgar Wright wrote, but then had to
And
change
they still
it.
credited him
Mhm.
in the credits for the stuff that he had done. But, I mean, at that point, they were talking about doing an Ant-Man movie many years ago, and, you know, Edgar Wright had the script going, and he was trying to get it working, but, you know, we did not really have the Marvel Universe that we have today, the cinematic universe, so it probably would not have been very successful just because nobody really knew about it, so they put it on hold, and lo and behold, you know, everything started changing really quickly, so they gave him the boot, or he didn't agree with the changes that they wanted to make, so that's the whole spiel behind that. The rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
And just for those who don't know, what other movies has Edgar Wright written or directed?
Let me draw in a blank.
Because I don't really know off the top of my head.
What did Edgar Wright do? Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, the Scott Pilgrim, kind of a superhero story in a way. I don't know, more video gamey.
Alright, so me and Nick and a couple other people got to go see it too. Nick, what did you think of Ant-Man?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very fun.
Definitely a fun movie. I enjoyed it. It was not by any means my favorite Marvel movie, but, you know, going into it, I really did not have high expectations for it whatsoever. Ever since they announced that they were going to be doing Ant-Man, just not really a character that I'm super interested in. but they pulled off the shrinking and the growing thing very well. I thought I was kind of wondering how on earth they're going to make that look cool, but they did. And this is a little bit too much CGI in it for me, but there's not really a whole lot you can do with a name like Ant-Man and not have it be CGI. But the CGI is good. I mean, it looks really good in it.
Unless it's green screen, in which that would be just
yeah.
my God.
Then you step into the realm of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and we've moved on from that.
Despite the CGI, I really enjoyed it. The CGI didn't actually take me out of the movie like I thought it would, because I thought with that much CGI, I'd be like, oh, this is just all CGI, and I wouldn't enjoy it as much. But it added to the story in good enough ways where it was still a good film as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I did it was very well written. They did a pretty good job with that. My favorite part about the whole thing really was actually Hank Pym. I thought Michael Douglas killed it in that, and the whole movie was funny, but I thought he was just hilarious with the way everyone's kind of afraid of him because he just likes to punch people, but he also just, what he added to that as far as depth in the story of Ant-Man in the past, and then handing it down to Scott Lang, I really enjoyed it. People have been saying that he did a pretty good job as well, but I thought that he was probably my favorite part about it, really, besides some of the cool action scenes.
I think my favorite part was his kid. She was so cute.
Scott Lang's kid?
Yeah, Scott Lang's kid.
Oh my God, it's adorable!
It's so ugly.
Oh, yeah, that freaky teddy bear. God.
That moment during the film was one of the moments that I said was like just a key moment of the film itself. It established so much of Scott Lang's character and like why he was becoming a hero, and also like how much he loved his daughter enough that everybody else was like, she's gonna hate that toy, and he's like, nah, I know my daughter, she's gonna love it. And so it just like it showed so much for Scott Lang and for the whole movie. I think that it was like that's a better moment than most other movies have, actually.
But it's also going against the grain. It's not following all those other tropes that other movies do. And I love when that happens.
In any other movie, that moment would have been like, she hates it and she doesn't care for it, or she's like, oh, I already have it, or something, or, or she wouldn't even want to open it just because she's so mad at her dad. But this did something different with it, which I thought was excellent.
It did have a lot of heart. Oh, Ant-Man.
Oh, Ant-Man. But even though I like that part a ton, my favorite part was definitely the last Michael Pena lip-syncing scene that they did with at the end.
That includes Stan Lee's
cameo. Stan Lee's cameo, and then Falcon trying to figure out where Ant-Man is. That was my favorite. Just because I've watched some Drunk History episodes, and that's what they do is they sync up what the people are saying to the story and other actors doing it. And so I've always liked that, and it's just really funny, especially when Michael Pena is fast talking and stuff and crazy stupid fine. And then
a lot of people have been raving about Pena's performance in that.
I really enjoyed it. And it was more fun than anything, like, which I think was needed for a superhero origin story. Now, after we've had so many superhero origin stories, I think it needed to be either like that kind of wacky fun or else just super dark, one or the other, because we've had everything in between so far. That I think it was necessary to do something like this to keep it fresh.
Well, this is the comedy.
Right.
We got the spy thriller. We obviously have all of, like, the Avengers, the big team up, the ensemble.
The space saga with Guardians.
Mm-hmm. And now we have the comedy.
The comedy shrinking heist
film. Yeah.
Indeed.
Talking about comedy, though, their Spider-Man is supposed to be a pretty big comedy, is what they're kind of shooting for, especially with the writer and of it.
Yeah, the writer that they got. Who's the writer?
I heard it was almost supposed to be like a romantic comedy.
Well, I mean,
well, not really, like a high school.
There will be high school drama pieces in there, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll obviously Spider-Man with his quips and everything.
Yeah, I thought for sure we might have actually seen something of Spider-Man, but we got that little snippet. That's about it. The dude that climbs on walls.
We got
one of those Michael
We got a guy who
swings. We got a dude who climbs on walls. Yeah, that was. Oh, I love that part.
I didn't catch it that it was a Spider-Man reference the first time through, because it sounded like there was 3 different people. I'm like, who are these 3 people? I'm like, wait, that's what Spider-Man does.
Nick, what was your favorite part about Ant-Man?
There's one part that I really like. It's the Thomas the Train Engine.
What a cameo by Thomas the Train.
Did you know that that is actually Marvel owned? They own Thomas the Tank Engine.
I kind of figured, yeah.
Not only that, but they have comics of it too.
Right. They have,
they
have
did
like
not
comics.
know that. That's kind of unfortunate.
What else? What else about Ant-Man?
Oh, talk about the villain.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people who say like this is just one of those one and out like underdeveloped villains. But
Darren Cross.
yeah. I suppose we should explain who he is. He's basically Hank Pym's protege, but he was like really kind of overeager, and Hank at the time wasn't like the best of men, so he kind of like took on those traits, and so Hank didn't like it, and he kind of just like dumped him off in a way.
He shut him out,
shut
and
him out, yeah.
So then Darren Cross kicked Hank out of his own company, and like it's been this weird thing. And then Darren Cross stumbles upon Hank's research with the Pym particle, and that's where the whole villain starts to grow.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he's actually a better developed villain than most others, just because they explain why he's so evil. I feel like because a lot of the times you're just like, why would somebody just want to be that evil? I mean, that's terrible. But they explain that he because of the Pym particle, it affects the brain chemistry and can damage your brain, and your thoughts would not be your own, sort of thing, and that he wasn't the most stable person to begin with, is what Hank Pym says. And so I feel like that helped develop his character and say that he was actually a villain and explain why he was evil.
See, that's the part I don't really completely understand, though, is because he never shrunk once before that, though. Like, he never was in that suit, and Hank made a point that you have to wear the helmet, because the helmet, either it keeps you from dying from when you shrink, or it has that
there's another thing
with the brain.
It's not, you don't necessarily have to be, like, getting shrunk. You just have to be around the particle.
So notice at the beginning of the movie, he was like spraying the sheep or other stuff with the particle, and he was like all up in his grill without a suit on and stuff. And so the particle would then be around him, and also probably during early testings of it, he'd probably get affected by it as well, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do agree that he's a more developed villain than most in these Marvel movies. Still, I don't know. I thought the villain kind of fell flat again for me, as most of them do in Marvel movies. I've only seen a couple that I've actually really enjoyed, but whatever. He's more developed than most, so that's something.
There was really just one part where he was absolutely scary, was during the bathroom scene, I think.
Oh yeah, that was kind of morbid.
Yeah, that was. That was pretty nuts that they put that in like a Marvel movie. I thought,
You just picked him up like a booger and
Yeah,
put him
left
in
left
the
a little bit
garbage.
streaked on the floor, and then put the rest of them in the toilet.
Yeah.
And, that was soulless, is what I would want to call that.
There you go.
Mhm.
That's a good term for it.
Any other topics from the movie that you guys wanted to talk about?
Soundtrack? Like the music for it?
I didn't notice the music, so I guess I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
See, this is something I always pay attention to because I love good film scores. And again, another thing that the two biggest things that I have a problem with as far as Marvel movies go is the villains and the lack of a good soundtrack. Because it's really, you have the Avengers, which has the most notable theme really for all of these different heroes, or actually for the Avengers, really. It's not particularly separate from, for each hero. But there's just not really a notable soundtrack that I've noticed. This one, again, I don't know, nothing super outstanding about it, really. But I do, it was well scored. It went well with the whole, kind of quirky, vibe that the whole movie gave off. So it was interesting, but nothing too spectacular in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess
But
the only Marvel movie that I really noticed like a spectacular soundtrack, or it really stood out to me, was The Winter Soldier.
oh yeah, that one was awesome.
Agreed.
Yeah, I
It's
think
just,
we
it's
all
just
agree.
really
on that.
different, yeah. But Nick, go on. What were you gonna say? Oh, new Nick.
The Nick duo. Let's see. For the soundtrack, it didn't really stick when you really heard it when it cued. But other than that, it's from the two times that I saw it. Actually, the music is one of the things that I really, I guess, focus on.
Okay.
And it honestly didn't really. It didn't really stick with me. So it's just kind of,
Kinda meh.
Kind of meh, yeah. It's a good way to put that soundtrack.
I mean, obviously it's not bad because
we weren't
we
like,
didn't
oh,
know-
this is
yeah.
awful.
but
That part didn't go there. Why did they crescendo at that part? Nothing happened.
no, they followed the soundtrack rules and everything.
Josh, please list off the soundtrack rules.
yes.
Okay, people have themes. Don't scare people and go to bed.
Wow. And the only real things that I had, besides the villain thing, and I know you guys will probably disagree with me, but to each their own, is I did not see Paul Rudd really as a convincing hero in that movie. Maybe it's just me. I've heard different opinions. I've heard the good side and the bad side, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because this wasn't like a true, it was a scaled down Marvel movie in the sense where like the whole world isn't in jeopardy, but even still, you can still portray a good hero, and I don't know, I just didn't really get that from him. Like, I don't see him as a solid hero going into, the further movies with him in it, like in Civil War, he's supposed to be in it as well. I know that he's going to have a role based off of maybe just what he can do with his suit and all that, because the after credits kind of showed that a little bit, but I don't know. I did not see him too much as a convincing hero, but I might have to go watch it again or something.
I can see where you didn't get that, because it's Paul Rudd, and everybody so far has known him for just his other movies, his other comedies and stuff. But I can see where you'd say that, but I disagree, because I think that with his whole focus being on his daughter and getting to see her and wanting to see her again, and then everybody telling him that just be the hero that she already knows you are, or whatever, that sort of keyed me in on it. And one of the scenes that was really telling of, I think, his heroic side was before the heist, when he snuck into his daughter's room and just sat there and kind of watched her and like kissed her to sleep.
Like a creeper.
I think that
Guys are allowed to do that.
because what would your head be going through? What would you be going through in your head?
Matt's been exposed to the PIM particle too much.
Yeah, I guess.
Hasn't been wearing his helmet.
What would be going through your head the night before the big thing that you need to do, the big heist? Like, for him, it was just his daughter. That's all he was thinking about.
It showed a different kind of hero.
Right. We haven't seen a hero that's been a father so far, and I think that's different. So people aren't used to that, and that might be where some people might not see it. But
not true. Hawkeye.
Oh,
true, but we didn't know about that until.
yeah, that's true.
And then again, you think people don't think of him as the best of heroes either. People are like, Hawkeye, nah. But
Hawkeye,
no.
No, we love Hawkeye.
No, I think people aren't used to the father thing, and probably because a lot of the people might not be able to relate to that, and that might be why. Like, we obviously can't relate to that as none of us are fathers, right? Nick, number 2.
What?
Okay, just... But yeah. I like Scott Lang. I thought he was good for the movie. He was a good fit. I thought it was really funny how awkward he was all the time, and I thought that made it better.
Mm.
Like when Hank and Hope Pym were having their like heart-to-heart moment, and he just ruins it, and then he just goes, "I'm gonna go in the kitchen," or whatever he said.
See, I don't know.
I'm gonna go make some tea.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff just fell flat for me, though. That I don't know. That one of the things that some of the jokes kind of fell flat, and I was like, oh, a little forced. But
the one joke that I didn't like was just back it up.
Oh my gosh, the half hour of back it up.
Yeah,
back it up.
I could have done without that, but I think the kids liked it. Some of the kids.
Yeah, it was definitely.
There were some kids sitting next to us, and they were laughing.
Really
Hard.
yeah.
All right. Good for kids, not for me.
What?
The thing that I loved the most, actually, was the end credit scene, where we see the Winter Soldier caught in like a vice grip or something like that. And there's this crazy amount of speculation going on as far as what the heck is going on in that scene, but we know that it preludes Civil War, and it almost seems like Civil War is actually happening right then and there.
Yeah, because
it felt like partway through Civil War movie or something.
Because you hear who said it? One of either Falcon or Captain said that we could get Tony in here, he could do it, and then they're like,
Falcon.
That's not an option.
Yeah, that was Falcon.
That's not an option. The Accords won't let them, and it's like,
The
who or what
Accords.
are the Accords? It's either the legislation in Civil War that's controlling what superheroes can and can't do, or it's
I think that's just the U.S. government, though, isn't it?
It's I think that's what it is.
It might be like a committee of people like telling them what they can and can't do, case by case basis. But yeah, it feels like Civil War is already happening, and then Falcon goes on to say, "I know a guy that could help out with this or whatever." One of my friends, Jack Harvey, sup Jack if you're listening, he speculated that the Winter Soldier's trying to get rid of his arm. And that's why it's in the vice grip. That's why they need Ant-Man to go inside and like undo stuff, maybe, or that Tony could fix it, being the engineer genius that he is.
See, I think that Tony is already chosen a side, though, and that's why Cap's like that. That's no longer an option.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but it would make sense with the arm. Like they would think about him. One thing that I was wondering is why were they so dirty? It seemed like Captain America and Falcon were also kind of dirty. I don't know if they.
Oh, that's true.
Did they fight? Come on, Nick.
Not that kind of dirty.
Did they fight the Winter Soldier? Did they have to fight their way in? Did they? I don't know. I don't know what was going on.
We'll find out. Stay tuned for Civil War.
Oh, I'm so excited for Civil War. I can't wait.
Yes. Future Marvel movies are going to be awesome, but now maybe we should jump into the past and rank our favorite Marvel movies, all 12,
That have come out so
best to
far.
worst. So, who would like to begin?
How about you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll write yours down over here so you can tell.
No, I don't.
Alright, so coming in at number 12 is the only one that I haven't seen, The Incredible Hulk. and I don't really care to see it. Actually, now that we have Mark Ruffalo,
Well,
it's like what's
it's
really the
come on.
point, I
If you're gonna watch the movies, it's like required.
Not
If you're
really.
a true Marvel movie fan,
It's.
I guess I'm not.
I hate
I heard it was a lackluster movie that wasn't very good. So
I'll talk about it on my rating, but go on.
all right, number 12 we have a Hulk. Number 11, Iron Man 3. Did not. I mean, I feel like the Iron Mans have gone downhill pretty quick, and seeing Iron Man that is just Tony Stark for 3/4 of the entire movie, it was cool to see all of the different suits, and the ending was kind of interesting, but still like okay, but whatever. Number 10 is I don't know, Thor 2. I don't know. Again, this goes with the whole thing that I never really liked Thor until Avengers 2. Like, I don't know, I think it's the whole Asgardian dialogue, like, is just like, ugh, gosh. Not a huge fan. Number 9, I have the first Captain America. Just kind of a boring movie, really. And again, I didn't really like Captain America until I saw The Winter Soldier. I thought he was just kind of there, like, amongst the other people. Number 8, Iron Man 2. Again, just kind of a not spectacular Marvel movie with a not so great villain. It was cool to see Tony and Rhodey together towards the end. That was a really cool scene, but again, that's really it. Number 7 is the first Thor. Again, kind of the same thing. Number 6 is where I have Ant-Man. Again, not my favorite, but right in the middle of the pack there. Number 5, I have the first Iron Man, the film that started it all off. I thought that this was the best Iron Man, and it was the best as far as, like, Tony's character arc and, like, how his character is developed. The background of his character. And it's just an awesome movie. Number 4, I have Guardians of the Galaxy. My top 4 are pretty tough for me, really, because I love all of the remainders. Guardians was a huge, pleasant surprise, and it's hard not to love Chris Pratt. Number 3, I have the first Avengers. This is where it gets really hazy as far as where I'm putting these, so really they're all kind of on the same level. But then number 2, I have the Winter Soldier, just because I think that is the best standalone film. I think that it rocketed Captain America up to number 1 as far as my favorite Avenger goes. And the Winter Soldier, I think, is the best villain, even though he's technically not a villain. But I love how they developed that character. And number 1, I have the second Avengers, which I just thought added so much more to each character. Yeah, the depth of each character. They just up the action, up the humor, but also up the stakes a little bit. And they added a better villain than Loki. Because I've never really enjoyed Loki as a villain. But there you have it. That is my top 12.
Nice. You want me to go next?
Sure.
Okay, so last place I got Thor 2. I mean, that movie was just kind of all over the place. The villain was crappy, and I didn't really know what was going on half the time. So yeah. So 11th place is the first Thor for me.
Thor sitting on the bottom.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of those ones. I hope the new one's gonna come out. But the biggest thing in that movie was just like the relationship with Jane. It was the most annoying part of the whole movie because it didn't make any sense. And then 10th, I've got Iron Man 3, and pretty much the same reasons as you. It feels like it wasn't really an Iron Man. I mean, I'm okay with that, but it's just when they did get back to Iron Man and like all the suits were there, it's just they all got destroyed real easily. And it's like, why is it like that? I thought they were good. Whatever. Okay. So yeah, and then like the heat powers they had.
Oh, see, that was so stupid. Plus, they ruined the Mandarin. They just ruined it.
It's okay. The real Mandarin is out there. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, let's see, that was 10th. 9th, I have Captain America, the first one. I mean,
It's all about
for this one, I
the
felt like it was more of just setting up Captain America, but in doing so, they were like really hindering the movie itself. Like it couldn't be an actual story.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's where I put that. Now, Incredible Hulk. I watched this a long time ago. At the time, I really loved it because it was like way better than the previous movie. So I'm like, wow, yeah, this is great. But it was like only in relation to others. Since then, I've seen like why it's not that great. Like the villain, so some of the villain doesn't make sense and stuff.
The Abomination's like one of the best, like the biggest Hulk villain.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they kind of wasted it, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I had fun though. A lot of people don't like it, and I want to see it again, just like to reevaluate it. All right, next is Iron Man 2. I remember watching this in theaters, and it was really fun. Later on, I found out that the things didn't make sense, but at the time, it was just a really fun movie. So that's where I put that. Next is Ant-Man. This is kind of like where I separate the bad from the good movies. So Ant-Man is the first of the really good movies. And yeah, we just had a whole thing on it, so I won't go into it, but really good, really fun. Up next, Iron Man, the first Iron Man. We just watched it yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like I could really tell why this movie like just started off the whole franchise. Next, this is where I was having a little bit of trouble placing things as you did. These top ones are like really, really top notch. But I put Avengers as fourth.
Really?
Yeah. It was amazing at the time watching it.
Mm-hmm.
But coming back to it, like I could tell that things weren't quite all there. It seemed I have a hard time like actually pinpointing what it is, but yeah.
This is your opinion.
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah. Yep. And I mean they're all great. So number 3, Avengers 2, Age of Ultron. The reason I don't put it higher is because it seems like it's just there was more that it wanted to tell that I could tell wasn't in the movie, and it's just like it was obviously a great experience, but it just wasn't a complete form of itself. Number 2, Winter Soldier, really fun. I'm really glad that they're going with like less superhero, more a type of film, action. So I'm really glad that like this kind of like pulled out. I think this is like one of the first best ones since Avengers, and like really started off Phase 2 or like kept Phase 2 going really well. And then number 1 is Guardians, and just like the more I watch it, the more I just love every single character in it and the whole storyline. So as a like complete movie, as a complete movie, it's like the best of all the Marvel movies, and that's my list.
Moving on to my list. At number 12 for me is The Incredible Hulk, just because it doesn't fit in too well with the rest of it. Just because, I mean, different actor, and I mean, it's been a while since I've watched it.
Yeah.
So I can't really say too much about it. Number 11 is Iron Man 3. I loved the Iron Man series, but I don't know. I feel like nothing came out of that movie. Like everything that happened during that didn't affect anything else later. Because at the end, Tony Stark was still, when we see him in Avengers 2, he's still Iron Man, and there was nothing leading up to that point of how he got there. So that's why I put it down there. Thor 2 is my number 10, just because the villain kind of sucked, and I don't know, just didn't care for it too much. Next then is Thor at number 9, just because there are some good parts, there were some great parts in there. The smashing of the coffee cup and then hitting him backing up every time with the van, that was pretty funny. I enjoyed that, but besides that, there wasn't too much to it. Then number 8 was Iron Man 2. I actually really enjoyed this, but just like I don't know, not as good as the rest of them, I guess. Number what is it? 7. I have Captain America, just because I watched this recently, and going back and looking at it, I really, after watching like the Winter Soldier and stuff, I was really able to appreciate more of it. And after watching like some of Agent Carter and stuff, I was able to really appreciate all the characters in that story, and then also like catch a couple more things that lead up to the Winter Soldier, like with Bucky and Dr. Zola and everything. So that's why I put it there. Then I know this might be controversial, but at my number 6 spot, and again, these top 6 are all magnificent movies, and I had a total blast while watching them. But at number 6 for me is Avengers 2. Because I don't know what was it about it, but I didn't like how Iron Man came back and they didn't tell anything about that, as I said before. Also, there were some great parts. I loved it, but I don't know. I thought these other ones were just better, I guess. It wasn't as much fun as Avengers 1, I don't think. But anyways, moving on. Number 5 is Iron Man. Started it all. We watched it again. Love it. Number 4, I have Avengers 1. I probably need to go watch that again because I haven't seen that for a while, and I know it's going to be great. My number 3 might just be because I'm on a hype train of it right now, but Ant-Man is my number 3 right now just because I had so much fun with it and enjoyed it so much. And how it tied in, I think, was great. Just maybe being the refreshing origin story that we needed. Maybe that's why I like it so much. But number 2 is Guardians. Absolutely killed that. That film absolutely killed it. It was just great. All the characters and the interactions between them were perfect. I don't know, they just captured something there. And then my number 1 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier, just because the score, the villain, the darkness, it affecting the entire universe like it did with the Shield being Hydra and everything, and then making a just kind of weak hero with Captain America into such a strong hero like that, and just making him climb over all the other ones, in my opinion, as of right now. That's why that's my number 1.
That was tough for me too. Is between Cap 2 and either of the Avengers.
Yeah.
I think that Cap 2 has the best story. It's the most well-written one out of all of them, in my opinion.
Yeah. I can give you our top 6 overall for our combined list.
So
we ranking those movies, each one of us ranked them differently, and so we gave a point value to each one, 1 through 12, based on where they were.
First place would be 12 points. 12th place would be 1 point.
And so I added those all up, and I'll just say our top 4, maybe 6. Number 1 was...
let's hear Nick's list here.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah.
I do, but I don't really have much to say, I guess. I'm sorry.
Run through it. Do what you can, man.
Alrighty. That's your number 12. Start with Thor 2. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard some pretty...
Forgettable.
Yeah.
You basically saw it.
Oh, wow. Let's see here. Iron Man 3. It just... I don't know. It just didn't really seem like it was... Or, it was kind of this... Or, I liked the comedy with it for Iron Man. Iron Man is always enjoyable for its comedy, but I don't know, just Tony Stark getting rid of his suits, they just fall apart like they're nothing.
Yeah.
And I don't really have much else to say about that one, I guess.
That's really there is too.
Let's see. Number 10, I have the first Thor, in which not really a big fan of Thor myself. It's just I don't know. He didn't really stick with me as one of the Avengers. And for number 9 is the first Captain America, in which again it was basically, or it was purely like just a war movie, or basically just a war movie. They were just going through the going through the back scenes of like what would happen for secret super soldiers during World War II.
True.
Let's see here. Then number 8, The Incredible Hulk. Enjoyable for its destruction.
Yeah.
But then again, it's the Hulk. It's just fun with him. But yeah, the story wasn't really there for me for that. Let's see here. Iron Man 2. I enjoyed the combo between Tony and Rhodey.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very fun at the end. Let's see here. Number 6 would be Ant-Man. Very enjoyable, but it was mostly a comedy more than the story itself.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it was still on the range of the movies. It was pretty much the middle part for me. Have not seen Guardians yet, but that is my number 5 because it's I have a somewhat high expectation for it because of all the hype that I hear from it. I plan to watch it actually either tonight or tomorrow night because watch it on Amazon. Just like go watch it.
It's fantastic.
Number 4 would be Winter Soldier. Very enjoyable film.
That one's fresh on the mind for you. We just watched that one before we started filming.
Yep.
The recording.
That's soundtrack very, very enjoyable. I like that. Story that has a very dark story in which not a very big fan of the dark stuff, but it's just it was there enough to where I just it pulled me and I wanted to know more. So okay, who else is gonna turn on them? Yeah, it's number 3 would be the first Iron Man. It's just the first suit. It's just, oh my god, the transformation of just going from one just normal or not exactly normal.
He's got some problems.
Yeah, he's going from him to just this basically to everyone else a walking tank, in which he just pretty much destroys the tank with a miniature missile anyway. So, so for number 2, I have the Avengers 2. I liked it, but it falls short from the number 1, which is the first Avengers, in which you slowly get to see them grow into a team. You get to see them slowly mold and to form into what they are now. In which, again, for the number 2 for my number 2 for the Age of Ultron, seeing them come back is just, oh yeah, look at that, they are finally a molded team. They are very, very well compatible with each other in fighting style and also with their long running jokes.
Sweet. That's honestly like the biggest thing for me too. Is so hard to pick one of the Avengers above the other because the first one has that molding of a team, the growing of a team, and that conflict in the beginning is so great to see. But then the second one, to me, I mean, you just add the better villain, and I liked it. It had everything that the first one had as far as action, humor, and, story is relatively similar, but you add the better villain. That's what really did it in for me. But
and the soundtracks, unbelievable soundtracks.
Good. Yeah. All right, Matt, let's see the random fandom collective list, and then we'll wrap it up.
Question, do we want to add mix to the total?
We'll do core, since we'll probably put the actual list on the blog site.
Okay. So the random fandom shows list of I'm gonna just say the top 6. Well, you can, if you want to see the other ones, maybe go to the site and check them out. Our number 1 is the Winter Soldier. Our number 2 is Guardians. Our number 3 is Avengers 2. Our number 4 is Avengers. And then tied at 5 and 6 is Ant-Man and Iron Man. Then it goes Iron Man 2, Captain America. I guess I'm just saying all of them.
Yeah.
Thor. And then tied for the last place for all 3 of these movies is Thor 2, Iron Man 3, and The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, God.
I mean, those are the worst, I think.
Yeah.
Hulk you haven't seen.
I haven't
yet,
even
so
seen
you can't
the Hulk.
say that.
True, but
it's
still.
It's underrated, I think. But that's just me, of course.
Josh, a fan of Hulk.
I
So.
think he's one of my favorite superheroes, so I have a bias.
All right. Well, maybe I'll check it out. I mean, I'd rather watch Guardians again, but
But that's our Marvel movie list and Ant-Man review for today.
sweet.
Thank you, Nick, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
We'll have you back on really shortly.
Sweet.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to let us know what you thought of Ant-Man, as well as how you would rank it amongst the other 11 Marvel movies. Send us what you think your 1 through 12 will be, and we will talk to you later.
Yes, we
Question
will.
mark, yeah.
Question mark?
I've been the Smash Hero.
I've been the Holocron Keeper.
And I am the Ring Bearer with special guest,
The Nightwalker.
the Nightwalker.
Oh, I like that. Way to go,
All right,
man.
everybody. Till next time, keep putting the fan in fandom.
Peace.
Bye.